Very well, Council. Proceedings may resume.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Commissioner, I call the Director of Geology, Geological Department.
Geological.
I swear by the Almighty Allah.
I swear by the Almighty Allah.
That the evidence I shall give to this commission.
That the evidence I shall give to this commission.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
So help me Allah.
So help me Allah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kindly give your full names to the Commission. Sorry.
Okay.
Kindly give your full names to the Commission.
My name is Abdullah M. Chan.
And you're the Director of Geological Department?
I'm the Director of the Geological Department.
Where do you live?
I live in Birkam.
Would you like to sit down?
Thank you.
Mr. Cham, your deputy, Mr. Jawo is your deputy. Mr. Aliu Jawo.
Yes.
He was required to provide some information, additional information, when he gave evidence in this commission. One of them was the information regarding the calculation of the outstanding royalty obligations owed by IPAM. Yes. Do you have the information?
Yes, I do have the information.
Okay. Right. So what do you have? Tell us what you have.
Yes, what I've got here is the outstanding royalty and other obligations fees from 2013 to 2017 operations.
Right. So what is the outstanding?
Well, actually, the outstanding, because of the obligations ranging from the payment of surface rental fees, training and institutional development fee, and the export of HMC, surface rental fees, training and institutional development, royalty fees, all those obligations, we've got the figures.
Yes. Can you just give us breakdown? These are calculated and confirmed by your department.
Yes, okay.
And you have, just tell us what you have. For royalties, what is the amount owing?
Yes, for the royalty fees, the outstanding amount is $4,341,235 for the outstanding royalty payment.
For the period you said 20?
Yes, for the period 2013 to 2017. And also have the application and license fees amounting to $15,000. So for the heavy mineral concentrate, which is the HMC, mining license, like 2 years training and institutional development fee has not been paid, and that amounts to $200,000 US. And for the 2 years surface rental fees, supposed to, which should be paid by the company, amounts to $37,700 US. And the shipments of the HMC, about 209 containers of HMC exported, calculated to be 5,643 metric tons at $30 US per metric ton. The amount calculated is $169,290 US. And for the surface rental fees, $364,650. Okay. So when we tabulated, when we come to the total of fees that should be paid by APAM company, in Dallas, is $8,120,885. And the US dollar amount that needs to be paid by the company is $406,990 US.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. Can we have that document? Stand by there. Do you have the Gamico payment records on HMC export from the Gambia?
Yes, I do have the Gamico payment records on heavy mineral concentrate export from the Gambia.
Okay. Do they owe anything?
Excuse me?
Do they owe anything?
Well, actually, according to the records that we have, since they started operations in 2009, because I've got the figures, 2009, the quantity of metric tons was 54,000.
Mr. Cham, do they owe anything?
They have actually paid royalty on these exports.
Surface rental? They paid surface rental as well? Surface
rental. Actually, I plead with you to allow me to check through the records.
Okay. But
to confirm that.
How much did they pay in terms of, that's what you have, the payment records?
Yeah,
right?
the payment for royalty payments.
Okay, how much
did
they pay?
Have.
What did they pay for the period?
What?
How much?
How much? Actually, a total amount of 137,407,338.48 dollars.
Was the total they paid?
Yeah, the total
from
amount.
From 2008 to 2000.
Yeah, from 2009 to 2014.
I see.
Yes.
This money was paid into which of the accounts? Kanaji's account?
Yes, it was paid into accounts at the central bank.
Okay. Now, during the period when Gamico was mining, there was also some sand mining. going on? Wasn't there?
During the
Period Carnegie was mining. There was also some sand mining.
Gamiko, during the period that Gamiko
Yes.
was mining.
Yes.
Yes, it was during the period that, I call it a transitional period. During that period, sand was being mined, construction sand.
Why do you call it transition? 2009 to 2014 is a long time.
No, during this period, the mining operations was limited to heavy mineral concentrate.
But there were sand tailings.
Yes, but there were tailings.
Who was mining the sand tailings?
Yeah, the sand tailings was under the Gamiko.
Yeah, who was selling it? Let me put it that way. Who was selling the sand tailings?
Yeah, because the tailings was entirely under Gamiko, and it was entirely under their jurisdiction.
Yes, who was selling it, Mr. Cham?
It's Gamiko during that period.
They were selling sand tailings.
Yeah, because sometimes we have information of movements of the material, which was not accounted for by the department.
Which was not?
Was not accounted for.
Was it for the department to account for the Gamiko tailings?
Yeah, because anything relating to removal of material or either HMC or the byproduct needs to be captured by the
Yes. So why were you not capturing it?
Yeah, because of cooperation. We had difficulty in Gamiko cooperating on that, because the mechanism in place to capture these things, they are not able to get the full cooperation of the company on that.
Okay. What exactly did you request and what did they refuse to give?
Yeah, because whenever you, for example, the removal of construction sand from the site, it needs to be recorded by the staff on the ground. But those trucks involved, engaged, in that, we are not actually stopping to give any records.
Whose trucks were they?
Really, I can't say the owner of the truck, but definitely is Gamiko in charge of those trucks.
Okay. Gamiko was in charge.
Yeah,
Do you have an estimate of the tailings that were removed that were not accounted for?
I don't have it, but I think we have to allow me to try to get through the records to see.
Yes, because this is one area which we need information on. There were sand tailings from the Gamiko mining operation, and we want your department to confirm the quantity of sand tailings that were actually mined and that were actually the product of Gamiko mining and that were sold and for which no royalties were paid.
Yeah, between 2009 to 2014.
When they started operation.
I know there is, we managed to capture the tailings removed from the site from January 2015 to 4th August 2015, because we were in control then.
You were supposed to also be in control between 2009 and 2014.
Yeah, because the license was issued to Gamiko, and it's a requirement that they cooperate fully with the department, because our role is to monitor, supervise, the operations, and that requires the licensee to actually cooperate fully with the department.
Okay. Who was in charge during that period?
Who was in charge of?
The geology department.
Geology department.
Maybe I should have asked you first. When did you become director of geology?
I was made the director in July 2009, 2007. Then in January 2008, I was removed from office.
Why were you removed from office?
Actually, no reason was advanced.
Okay, what were the circumstances of your removal in office, from office?
I understand it was before, because when the directive came for us to stop Carnegie operations, I was there. Subsequently, we had series of meetings to that effect, and just after a few days, I was removed from office.
What were the meetings about?
What were they?
Mr. Cham, it's like pulling your teeth. We want you to be frank. What happened?
When that directive came for us to stop the operations,
Yes.
because of the directive that was implemented, but subsequent interactions with the authorities, I, as a director of geological department, really, I was not very, very happy with the way and manner it was conducted. And because there is a process, and a license was issued, I understand, and it's my responsibility to make sure that things are in accordance with that license.
Did you advise? Did you advise about the termination?
Well, not a written advice, but the meetings that was held, I indicated that due process should be followed.
Okay. And then you were removed?
I was removed the following day.
How did Gamico become involved or how did they acquire a license? Maybe that's what, no, that's not the question I want to ask. How did they become involved in the mining operations?
Actually, because I was out of office in 2008, and after the termination of Carnegie license, I understand, Gamico submitted an application.
Okay, did you ever meet Gamico staff? The directors or the directors?
Yes, I met
Before
Manhal,
before your termination?
And
Okay.
Manhal. With that, I met them before.
When?
But
When
I
you-
met them after I came back to office.
Did you meet them at all before you were terminated in 2000?
No.
Okay.
No,
All right, we would like you to provide a report on the tailings.
okay.
After you were terminated, you came back when?
I came in 2012.
Okay. And you've been as what, director?
2012
As director.
yes.
And you've been director since?
After 2012, when I was reinstated, I worked for 6 months. Then I was again, I was dismissed from the service
Okay.
after 6 months.
Now this time, 2012.
Yes.
Yes, why this time?
Well, these things, they don't normally explain.
You said so already, but usually it's tied to something, isn't it? Was it tied to anything? You're being dismissed.
What I understand, I was in the course of implementing directives to stop Gamico from exporting exporting HMC through the port of Banjul. And there was a time that they wanted to ship about 119 containers. And they started the process. And earlier, we got the directive that we, stop all exports. So I engaged them and requested them to take it back to the site. And that was done, but I know Tony was bitter about that. Was very bitter. So after 2 days, I was removed from office.
Okay, what was Tony Gatta's role during Gamico?
Yeah, at that time he was operating. He was the one in charge of the operations of Gamico, fully.
Okay. When you say he was in charge of the operations, can you elaborate?
Yeah, because he was completely totally in charge of Gamico operations, ranging from mining operations, exporting the material HMC to the port of Banjul. He was in charge of the staff. He was responsible for everything for Gamico.
So you were telling us about the Gamico, you've told us about the Gamico payment records. You want to tender them? You can, please, can you collect the records? Now, Gamico took over from, they came in after Kanaji left.
Yes.
Can you tell us about the staff? Did they take over Kanaji staff?
Actually, the time that they were taking over, was not in the department, unless if I can go to the records.
Okay.
To
all right, that's
confirm.
fine if you are not there. But when you took over, geology took over from Gamico, when Gamico's license was revoked or terminated or whatever you called it at the time, you took over and there was a period when geology department was actually selling white sand or mining white construction sand. Now, then EPAM took over. Did you hand over staff to EPAM? Did they take over? Let me put it this way. Did EPAM take over any of the staff?
Actually, if I can clarify a bit,
Okay.
it was, we received a directive from the Office of the President in August in August
20.
Can't remember the date, in August 2014, requesting, informing us of the change of management of, we received a copy actually. The letter was addressed to Gamico that notifying change of management of Gamico. So subsequently, in September 15th, the following month, another directive came, actually communicating to us that Gamico's management has been changed. Going further to say that they've handed over Gamico's the management, new management will be Ismail Asanyang, PS, Office of the President, Abdullah M. Cha, myself, under the supervision of General Baji and Yankuba Baji, the NIA Director General. So it was actually a change of management.
Okay.
Following the change of management, following that directive, requesting us to, implement this directive with immediate effect. I was in part of a meeting held at Manhal Kiddat's office. I was present, and the Director General of NIA was present, and Suleiman Baji was also there.
You mean General Suleiman Baji?
Huh?
General Suleiman Baji?
Suleiman Baji, yes. So, they requested that, we should go to the site to inspect the mining sites. I accompanied them to the mining sites to actually assess the situation there, the equipment, all that was done. So it went further to request the Gamico to hand over, but the handing over was merely documents presented to us, a list of staff and other things was submitted to us, which didn't include any accounts or whatever.
And that was supposed to be the management handing over.
The
Management handing over.
Yeah, so the process was started, but it never went into full-fledged because of certain obligations of Gamico was not fulfilled, like renewal of business registration and transfer of share, share transfer instrument also was not effected. So with all those issues, it was a real problem to actually be in full control or charge.
Mr. Chan, what shares were to be transferred and to whom?
Yeah, actually, following the change of management, we got a communication that the shares that Mr. Basi's shares should go to APAM. That was the directive that we had, that Gamico should transfer the shares to APAM, 50% of the shares.
50% of?
Yeah, like, the shares that Mohammed Basi was holding in the company needs to be transferred to APAM. So, although it never took off the ground because of cooperation from Gamico, because in the first place, we found out that the business registration was not renewed for a couple of years. So all those things were stumbling blocks.
What about the other 50% shares? What about the other 50%? Did you have any communication about the other 50%? You said 50% shares of Muhammad Bazi was to be transferred to IPAM. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
What about the other 50%?
The other
Yes.
share?
Yes.
Actually, the whole issue was about, like, when the directive came for Muhammad Bazi's share to be transferred to APAM, then obviously there was no directive to say the rest to this, so which means, we assume that it will be government, but it didn't never materialize. It didn't take off the ground.
Okay. Now,
Actually.
why did you assume that the 50% shares would be government?
Yeah, because they only mention about Bazi's share.
I see.
Yes.
So, and you understood that to mean exactly what? In relation to Gamico Company? What did you understand? Why did you think that the other 50% would be government? We just want to follow your thinking in this.
Yeah, actually, we were moving towards all that, to trust out all those issues. But in the process, another directive came. The directive was Gamico's license is terminated and issue a license to APAM. So all these processes were at times punctuated by executive directives.
Now, do I understand you to be saying that you assume, therefore, that Gamico was partly owned by government?
You say, I assume that
Did you
part
assume?
of Gamico
Yes, was owned by government.
will be government. Because of the fact that we were asked to, like the management,
Yes.
like requesting Gamico to hand over management to government officials, like the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Office of the President, and the Director of the Geological Department. So all those assumptions stem from that, because but the thing is, things were never finalized.
I understand. Because we were not there, you were the ones there, and you had to implement this directive.
Yeah.
And I could understand, we just want to understand your thinking. I mean, what your assumptions were, that if you were being asked that 50% should go to APAM, and yet government officials were to be responsible for managing the company. So you assume that the other 50% would come to government, or
Yeah.
belong to government.
Yeah.
I just want you to clarify, Mr. Chan.
Yeah, the assumption was not, there wasn't anything on paper even to that effect. the priority at that stage was Gamico to prepare, share transfer instrument to renew the business registration. That was not done, and all those, were stumbling blocks actually as to the way forward for the operations.
Okay. Did you have the staff? Do you have any documents on the staff payroll at the time it was handed over to APAM?
Yes, the time.
And the staff that were handed, did you hand over staff to APAM, by the way?
Well, there wasn't anything like actually handing over to APAM. The directive just came to indicate that Gamico's license has been terminated. Issue a license to APAM Company Limited.
Yes, let me just put it this way. Did APAM take over any staff from you were running Gamico because you were told to take over management? Did APAM take over any staff from you?
No, I know all the staff that we maintained, the essential staff, because we were sympathetic when this change of management came, and the former management stopped everything, the payments, and we understood that Gambians were involved. And what we did, because they didn't give us anything, accounts, no transfer, so we had to brainstorm to see how best. Number one, the priority was the equipment that was in place to be protected, because we cannot just abandon equipment like that. So that requires the presence of watchmen, cleaners, and even the mechanical team was also maintained. So, but when that change happened, after we realized that the new management, like APAM, actually didn't give priority to maintaining staff, thinking that it's a waste to maintain them. So they were all laid off.
Okay.
Yes.
This was a mining operation. Right. This was a mining operation. The staff, the operational staff that you had, Gamico had, where they never worked for APAM, is that what you're saying?
No, the staff that we maintained, they were not maintained by APAM when they came in.
They brought in new staff?
Yeah, they had their own people because their operation was limited to, the excavation of the supply of construction sand. But as far as we were concerned, we didn't just want to, be like that. We wanted to move forward, at least to try to see how best to.
We understand. What we want to know is that do you keep a record of the operation staff on the ground involved in mining?
Yes, I do have it.
No, not during your time. The operation staff for any company. APAM was mining in various sites. Do you have a record of the staff that they had?
The record
on the site?
of
Yes.
staff on site?
Yes.
Yeah, it's something that we can look and provide.
You do keep a record?
The staff that
were working for APAM on site?
Yes. For APAM on site. It's
yes.
something that we can provide, yes.
All right. Can you tell us anything about the Sambiang access route?
Okay. Actually, the Sambiang access route was initiated by the department, having known the importance of mining companies' responsibility, like corporate social responsibility, to plow back to the community. Because as everybody understands, quarrying or mining involves large-scale removal, especially in the case of quarrying operations, of sediments causing destruction to the environment and affecting the communities very much, especially in terms of access.
Mr. Cham, but the Sambiang Access Road is a road that was built from public funds.
Yes.
Wasn't built by mining companies. So no corporate social responsibility issue arose. Wasn't it built from mining funds? Royalties that kept at the central bank?
Yeah, it was made from proceeds from royalties collected from sand quarry.
So why, yes, but why didn't Gamico or EPAM, why didn't they build that road? Do you have any documents anyway regarding the road, the construction of the road?
Yeah, because that site, Zambia route, was much affected as a result of sand mining.
Exactly. Yes. So why did the public have to bear the cost? But do you have documents relating to the construction
Yes,
of the road? Who built the road?
I've got some documents relating to that.
Who built the road?
A company called Copri
Okay.
was given the contract.
Who gave them the contract?
Because the geological department, in consultation with stakeholders.
Was it tendered?
Yeah, there was a tender process.
Tell us what documents you have. Let's have it.
I've got some documents.
Yes, tell us what documents you have and hand them over.
Okay.
No, I put them together. All right. Well, thank you. So Sambiang is in where? Gunjur?
Yes,
Sambiang is in Gunjur.
Yeah, it's part of Gunjur area, actually.
Okay. Do you have any payroll for the APAM staff to give us an indicative indication of what sort of salaries were being paid?
Yes, I do have, please. Let me see. Yes,
Mr. Cham, about the training fund of $100,000 paid by licensees every year. Now, between Mr. Jao told us that the Law Department benefited very little from the funds that were deposited in Central Bank of about $700,000 in the Gameco training account. Do you have any documents to show how you benefited, how your department benefited during this period?
Yes, I do have.
Okay. How many people were trained from your department?
Actually, the records that I have here, which is the actual 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 9 of our staff benefited. One of which was a group training in China with duration of 1 month.
Okay. So total, what is the total? Do you have a total cost of the training that you benefited from?
Well, I don't have, but the group training was sponsored by Gamiko.
Okay.
So maybe I can go through the records to check the other two beneficiaries.
The 8, what were they sponsored to do? Degree programs? What sort of programs?
No, actually, one of our staff went to a 1-month training. Then the other one, a period of 2 years was.
That's a master's. Is that master's program?
The other 7 staff went to China for 1 month, which was actually met by Gamiko.
Okay, so the 9 include the 7 that went to China for a month?
Yes, 7 went to China.
And one had a 2-year training course, and the other one had a...
1 month, yes.
And that's all?
That's the only benefit that the department had, you know.
What about other type of capacity building, equipment, upgrading of the department? What did you benefit from? Any of those?
There isn't any recorded benefit, you know, on those. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Can we have the document? You did not complain? 700,000 was a lot of money, and it was partly meant for capacity building of the geology department.
Yes, exactly. Because we didn't have a free hand on. We submit requests to OP. But sometimes we don't normally get positive responses from the former regime. So,
can we have the documents? Is there any other document you'd like to have the commission take a look at? Or is that all?
Any other document?
Yes, any other document that you would like to submit to the commission that is relevant to.
Well,
no, that's fine. If you don't have, it's fine.
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman, I'm applying to admit these documents relating to outstanding fee obligations of APAM, royalty and other obligations of APAM, the records of the Gamiko payments to government during the period which they operated. A document which has attached to it the payroll of the APAM staff, geological department training benefits, and records relating to Sambuya quarry site rehabilitation. To be added to the GEO series.
Geological Department documents relating to Gamico documents for the period 2008 to 2014, admitted marked GEO4A, APAM royalties and other liabilities to government for period 2013 to 2017. Admitted marked GEO4B, National Roads Authority letter dated 13th May 2014 and addressed to Geological Department regarding Samwea Quarry site for rehabilitation, brackets, construction of beach access road. Admitted marked GEO4C.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, have you discovered what was being mined in URR, Upper River Region, by the ex-president or by EPAM?
I mean, you discovered?
Have you discovered what was...
Sorry, we didn't get the question.
Have you discovered what was being mined in URR, Upper River Region, by EPAM or the ex-president?
No, because no report came to the office as required by the prospecting license. Like,
even after the ex-president left, you didn't take it upon yourself to find out what was being mined?
yeah, actually, APAM approached the department way back in 2012, indicating their interest to engage in prospecting operations.
We have that evidence, but there's been recent news, a lot of news about Mr. Jao admitted that there was something happening in Upper River Region. Yes, but you had no access. My question is, have you tried to find out at all what was being mined now that you have no such obstacle?
Yes, we actually conducted a site visit recently and made our own investigations, in that particular site. But we haven't actually discovered, because there is a process. If I can please highlight a bit on that. Like some laymen tend to be naive about, mining operations, because you cannot just jump and go start mining. Like when APAM came, that they are interested, I know previous speaker has already highlighted on that. When you are given the prospecting license, give you the right to search for the minerals. You have to conduct research first, and it's a requirement that you inform the department of any discovery. And before you even start mining, you should get authorization, like a mining license, and that can come after the prospecting operations. So, having granted that prospecting license, we just had people talking about mining operations in URR, even that site being protected by the security forces. And there was no report to the department, and any mining activity, was unauthorized, because we didn't issue any license to anybody. And they should have followed the advice from the department that there is a process. If you don't follow the process, you cannot make it. So due process was not followed. And at the end of the day, all those who are engaged or who are employed, some of them just vanished because there isn't anything. We are not saying that there isn't anything anywhere in this country, but there should be a process.
We understand that, but there was no process. We know that.
Yeah.
Now, but the mining operation obviously has stopped because those who were involved, you said, have vanished. But what is your finding? You are experts. I mean, we know there's always procedures in place, but you might have people not following procedure and still mining. Illegal mining operations happen all over Africa. Now, that doesn't mean that the geology department ought not to know what was going on. So my question is, did you try to find out what was going on? What were they mining?
Actually, initially, before all that, we had some samples given to us. And we wanted to, what we first advised is to have a joint visit to that site.
Who gave you the samples?
Some people came to our office, some Gambians. They came with a number of samples. These samples are from Badari area. What our responsibility is for them to take us there to confirm whether those stuff are actually from that site. Okay, that didn't materialize because of no cooperation from them. But they intend, in turn, approach the former NIA boss, who I think eventually they met the president and, gave information. I think the technicians to come, in these things is very important because the layman, but those samples, we know that they were not valuable stuff on inspection, but we wanted to go and confirm. And our recommendation is, as regards that site, is anybody can come, any entity interested in mining operation, that I want to conduct research in this area. Because these things are not simple. It's not that you just go pick a piece of rock and start saying, it's diamonds or whatever.
But did you specifically examine those mining sites?
Huh?
Have you specifically examined those mining sites?
The mining site that you talked about right now. Actually, we went there also. We traversed the area and actually assessed, the activities that these people were doing, mainly unprofessional way of actually.
So what is it that they were looking for?
They didn't inform us of anything.
No. What were your findings, Mr.
Our
Chairman?
finding was,
yes.
We went, we also took samples, analyzed them. We know those samples, mainly quartz grains, different type of quartz, we understand, which are not that much valuable, but nonetheless, we don't rule out the occurrence of any mineral in any area, but provided you conduct a detailed, professional.
So are you saying you don't know what they were mining? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because I know they were mining some stuff like quartz grains or whatever.
What?
Quartz grains. What we call quartz grains, which is an abundant mineral, but not that valuable as.
Can you spell it?
Quartz.
Ah, quartz, okay.
It's so abundant, you understand? And some of them can be so bright that, the layman can just think of anything. You understand that? But those can be indicative materials. But what we are saying here is, let research be conducted. And there is a process for that.
Well, we are not interested in mining. We just want to know what was going on in those sites. So apparently you don't know. All right.
Okay.
I don't have any further questions for Mr. Chan. Honorable Commissioners.
Who go for what?
Mr. Chairman, are you confirming there is no expertise to determine what was being mined in URR, or we need to wait for your research findings?
Yeah, the activity, just as I said, the activity that was, in that particular site, see, the onset, some people came and gave us samples, that those samples are from Badari site. So these people, we engaged them that we should go with them to that site to actually do our own work. It didn't materialize. Later, we heard that the president sent some people there, mining. And you don't have, nobody has authorization to just start mining operations without being granted a license. We understand APAM was granted a prospecting license covering areas in the URA, which requires them to submit a report to the department. No report was submitted by them unless until we heard of, that some people are there digging material. Recently, we conducted a visit and visited the sites that, But the thing is, you need to embark on a more professional prospecting operations. Prospecting will give you the right to actually conduct research, detailed research, which will entail collection of samples, analyzing them in laboratories, and so on.
But that is for the people interested in pursuing a mining operation. At the level of the commission, what we would like to know is what's in there. Did you do a verification and validation of the samples to know if this is worthwhile? You mentioned quartz, yeah?
Yes.
The quartz grain. Is that all? Or are you saying to us that the reports of mining were unfounded? There is no valuable stone there?
Actually, recently we had a report. The department also conducted investigation, and we have our own report with regards to that site. And that report will brings to light and the way forward, the recommendation that we have with regards to that site.
And what's in that report?
Yeah, the report comes up with some recommendations.
Sorry?
Like the process that should be carried out.
No. We are not interested in the full report. The conclusion of the report. Does it say there is precious or what's in the conclusion?
The conclusion, current investigation conducted didn't actually confirm the presence of any valuable
minerals.
I would not say valuable, but precious minerals.
Okay.
What I am saying is present investigation conducted by the department doesn't confirm any occurrences as of now. Although as experts, we don't just conclude that's it. Because these things are dynamic and
you need time.
Provided the scale of prospecting operations can bring anything, anytime. But presently, we cannot confirm any precious mineral occurrences in that site.
Okay. And you have free access right now to examine whatever you want to examine?
Yes, we do have free access.
So it's just a matter of time before you are able to validate?
Yes, certainly.
Thank you.
Any more questions? All right, you are released.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Maybe, can we ask for a break till 12?
Yes.
Our next witness should be at 12 noon. 12 noon.
Very well. We'll be back at 12 noon today.